I think that feels like a nice package there.
Yeah.
Wow, look at those phones light up. It's Felger and Maz on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Mike, he had a tumultuous time in Philadelphia, despite the production and success they had. Why are you confident that won't happen here?
Well, I mean, again, whatever happens or comes up, I think that I can't say that there's not going to be things that come up with AJ, with, you know, any single player, right? I think that this is a competitive game, highly competitive. Players want to win. Players want to do everything they can to help their team. They want to make sure that people are on the right page. So I don't get into a lot of that. I think that what's the most important is that, you know, those things don't carry into the locker room, that they get handled. And you see that all the time on the sidelines. We want to have conversations in a meeting room. We want to have conversations at practice. And, you know, sometimes those conversations are animated, but it's all in the sake of trying to get on the same page and get right. So, you know, again, I don't know what happened. I'm not trying to figure out what happened in Philadelphia. I'm trying to focus on what's going to happen here and trying to get him acclimated to what we do and how we do it.
More from Mike Vrabel today on the acquisition of his guy, A.J. Brown. Continue the conversation with the big fella. What do you say, Mass?
Definitely.
It's a big boy Tuesday.
Yeah, as big as it gets.
Greg Bedard joins us in our Town Fair Tire Studios. Hi, Greg.
Hi. Beatle's not here, is he?
Unfortunately, we asked him to stick around. You wouldn't do 2 o'clock. You were afraid of the crossover.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was afraid of the crossover. There's restraining orders and things like that. No, I'm just kidding.
Greg is brought to you by Best Ford in Nashua. Looking for great deals on a new Ford? Go to the Best Ford in Nashua on the web at thebestford.com. We'll continue to take your calls at 617-779-0985. Of course, Greg is from the Boston Sports Journal. Been covering the Patriots for a long time here in town. And enough of the introduction because it's been a while, in case people don't know who you are. How do you feel about this trade?
I like the trade. I do. I think that the Patriots are a better football team. I think there's a lot of risk involved, and this is it's all on Mike Vrabel one way or the other, no matter how many times he brings up Elliott Wolf and things like that, like you guys were talking about earlier. This is a big risk. It is. This is not bringing in Randy Moss for like a 4th round pick and not paying him, or, you know, Stephon Diggs when you struck out on other wide receivers. He was available. You signed him late. It's not that. This is, depending on what they do with the contract, and I will be very interested to see what happens. I don't know if I'm hopeful. I don't know if that's the right word, that, you know, maybe A.J. Brown took a discount to make this happen. That would make a lot more sense as far as the Kraft financials and how they do things. If all of a sudden AJ said, all right, you know, he cuts what he's making and makes a lot of it in incentives and per game roster bonuses and all that stuff to get where he needs to go if he performs. That would be, you know, interesting to see. We'll see if anything happens with the contract, but, you know, the 1st round pick, which I don't have a problem with that. I know the Patriots talking to them, you know, getting a lot of sort of intel at the league meetings. They valued A.J. Brown around a 2nd round pick. That's the equivalent of a 2028 1st round pick for me. I was not really interested. I did not want to give up 27 picks, certainly not the 1st round pick for A.J. Brown.
Can I stop you there?
Yep.
So the common
Consensus?
The consensus and the way they treat those draft picks, Maz, you hear this all the time.
Yeah.
That a 2nd this year is a 1st 2 years from now, or a 3rd round pick this year equates to a 4th round pick next year. And that's
right.
how they work these trades. A 5th this year is a 6th next year, so on and so forth. I don't think that should apply in the 1st round. And you know why, Greg? Because, again, I'm going to trade you a 2nd round pick in 2 years, which equates to
a third.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. None of those picks have a chance to be a top 10 pick. You know what I mean? Like, if you're kicking it a year into the future and you lose a round, all right, well, now it's going to be either 33 or 65. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. If a 1st round pick is a chance to be the top number 1 pick in the draft.
Look, I understand that.
So I don't look at that as I would other rounds. I hope that made sense.
It totally makes sense. I think it's all freaking bull crap. A first rounder is a first rounder. If you're picking in the first round that year, it's a first round pick. Like, what are we playing these stupid games for instead of saying, well, if it's 2 years out, it's really like trading a second. No, it isn't. You don't have a first round pick in that year's draft.
To me, I would treat I would not apply that same formula to a first round pick.
Okay.
Because a first round pick is a chance to be a top 5 guy. If you're kicking a round into the future between the 3rd and 4th round or the 2nd or 3rd, you're not talking, so that's my rationale.
Okay. So, I mean, I see your thinking.
Yep.
The way I look at it, the way most of the NFL, the way the Patriots look at it, in terms of especially this deal, is by 2028, they will have 3 drafts. If they're doing their job correctly, that should be it should be a late first round pick.
Won't be lower than 31, but go ahead.
Right. It should be in the late 20s, somewhere, 25 or later. In most NFL drafts, at max, you have about 20 at max. This year was probably like 13. 20 players with first round grades. So basically anything from 20 to 45 is about the same. And also, you're getting A.J. Brown without having to give up any assets for the next 2 years. You don't give up, you're giving up a 5th round pick. By the way, the league scuttlebutt, and this is just rumors, and I'm not reporting this or anything, but a lot of people were surprised by the 5th round pick. I don't really care about the 5th round pick. But the league thinks that was Howie Roseman threatening to delay the timing. That Howie Roseman went to them and been like, now, I want more than the 2028 first round pick. So in order to do right by my owner, we're going to hang on to him through at least the mandatory mini camps around the league, see if anybody gets hurt. Could hold him until training camp. Who knows? But, that's just not enough for us. So we want a sweetener. And the Patriots faced with, how many PR nightmares have they had this offseason? Can you imagine if this started to drag out over weeks, the PR nightmare that would have been?
It's just so foreign to me, Greg, between the Crafts primarily, but when Belichick was here too. You would tell Howie to go F himself. There was a time the Patriots would say, oh, they hold him. Yeah, Howie, why don't you bring him into camp with you guys? Why don't you have him go play catch with Jalen Hurts? See how that goes. Good luck.
Too much has happened this offseason.
You know what I mean, though?
It's been such a disaster. Like, the Patriots couldn't afford it.
I'm saying, but this is what I'm saying. They got beat up by Howie Roseman on this.
They did. But I will say this. I agree, if just taking it as the first round pick, the 2028 first round pick, I agree with that trade value. I think that's the proper a modern day or current day second round pick or a future first round pick, believing that it's going to be late in the round. I believe that's fair value. I don't have a problem with doing business giving fair value. And so I don't have a problem with the deal. I think A.J. Brown makes the team better. I'm not the biggest A.J. Brown fan. I do think that I think he's declining. Or he started to decline. The Patriots don't believe that. The Patriots think that, or know, from Vrabel's relationship with him, that A.J. Brown was miserable last year. And the offensive coordinator was terrible, got fired. The quarterback, I've never thought has really been any good. I mean, he certainly has played some good Super Bowls, but I'm not a big fan of his. They think that Josh McDaniels, Drake May, Mike Vrabel, knowing what A.J. Brown buttons to push, that they are going to get the best out of him for at least the next 2 years. And they're betting a lot on that. And we'll have to see. But I don't have a problem with the pick. Do I think A.J. Brown is like this huge difference maker, elite wide receiver? I don't. But okay. I'm just going off the film from this last year.
I want to talk more about him as a player. Because we've done a lot the last 2 days on the value of it in the trade. And believe me, I love the topic mostly because you out there hate it. And so we're not going to drop it, but I do want to talk about him as a player. There's just one last thing. I do not think it's fair value because no one else was going to offer it. I don't look at what he got versus DK Metcalf or, other comps. What you're worth is what someone else is willing to pay. That's what any of us are worth. That's what anyone's worth. not what you're being paid, what someone else was willing to pay. No one else was going to be giving up a first-round pick, and you were the only one.
You don't know. That could have changed. It could have changed. Somebody could have gotten a big injury.
Okay.
Look, Julian Hill just tore up his knee in OTAs the other day. A lot of things could happen. The Chiefs could get more desperate with the Rashee Rice situation. Somebody else could get hurt.
Greg,
you
that's
just
fair,
don't know.
But that's a projection. As currently constituted,
you're going to drive a hard bargain. Why? And piss off Howie, who you want to work with. It's fair value. Just do the deal. Now, I don't love that. Howie got them to give up a sweetener when they didn't need to do that. But I'm not gonna cry over it. It's just a 5th round pick. I'm not a draft pick. I don't care.
They overpaid. Not egregiously, but they overpaid.
Why don't you love the player?
Well, number one, he's declining, and I have some stats to back it up. I was able to get NGS miles per hour stats.
Huh?
So it's all these guys wear these.
What's NGS?
I don't know what it stands for.
Tracking.
Yeah, but it's tracking. The NFL has
got it.
Tracking data.
Got it.
And his games with max speed of 19 plus miles an hour and 18 plus miles an hour fell off a map last year. He went from 55% of his games to 30% of his games. And there's a lot of reporting that the Rams didn't like his knees. I talked to the Rams at the league meetings. They said that wasn't the case for them, that it was more about the Eagles were like, it's not happening until June 1st. And the Rams, because they would have had to deal Devontae Adams, they didn't want to wait that long. I asked another AFC general manager who I thought A.J. Brown would be a really good fit for them. He said, nope, bad knee. So there's that. I think that he's basically just a big wide receiver. He's a hitch, back shoulder type guy. I do think there's value in that for Drake May. I think he has trouble getting open deep now. He needs help with double moves, which this offense does have in the form of, play action and stuff like that. A lot of his big plays you'll see on these replays that they're showing, it's stutter and goes. It's out and up. It's slant and go. So he needs a little bit of help to get open deep. But, he is kind of a unicorn. I mean, watching him on the practice field today, really the only time you saw him open it up a little bit was, routes on air. But, the way he takes off the line and goes at a cornerback, man, he looks like a freight train coming at you. And, he's still got some pretty good quickness.
But he's losing his top-end speed.
Yeah, just about everybody in the NFL believes that. The Patriots do not. They told me to my face. They do not think he's declining. And they're betting on that.
What's your NGS speed, Maz? What do you think your top-end speed is?
In my prime or now?
Well, now.
8.
I was going to say 7.
Stands for Next Gen Stats, by the way.
Yeah. That's what it is.
So
Somewhere in that
he's
area.
not a separation guy, from what I hear you saying.
No, he runs, and a lot of it had to do with the Eagles' offense last year. It's hard to tell. Their percentage of just running hitches all over the place was off the charts last year. But he can run the end. He can get up on a cornerback and get a little separation coming back. But as far as if you think he's going to line up on Christian Gonzalez, say, and just beat him up the sideline for a big play, Drake May is going to have to put one into a basket, which he can do. But do I think A.J. Brown's a big improvement over Kayshon Boutte? Yes, absolutely. And I think he fits well in the scheme, and I think he fits well with Drake May. It's just, I don't think I don't consider him an elite wide receiver. I think he's very good, but I just don't see him a Justin Jefferson or one of these type guys.
Okay, but he's not elite?
I mean, elite, I'm talking the best 3 or 4 at their position.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, elite. I think he's very good. I would say he's top 15, probably around top 10, somewhere in there. But, look, I mean, he's got the knee. I think he's declining. How much are you going to get out of him? What happens if he goes down? All those things. I mean, I just don't think it's I'm not all of a sudden running to place money on the Patriots going to the Super Bowl this year after this deal.
Okay, let's take some calls with Greg Bedard, shall we? We'll do it right after these words. Don't go anywhere.
Now, more of Felger and Maz now on the Sports Hub.
Can you just let us know kind of how your knee's feeling? Any updates with that? Because I know sometimes like the injury has come up.
No injury, nothing to worry about. I think this whole little. You got to understand where I came from. So any conversation about anything is gonna come up. So maybe in 4 years I'll miss one game from shot to the knee. So that's nothing to worry about. I'm good. I'm ready to go. So
he's proven he can play through it. That'll give him. I do put stock in that mess. That the past, I do. I factor in how he's played through it in the past. Leads me to believe he can do it again. But at what speed? At what level?
Sure.
He's tough. He'll get out there and play through it. Good. But has it diminished him? That's, I think, a more pertinent question. And given some of the next-gen tracking data, perhaps. But as promised, let's take some calls here for the big boy, Greg Bedard. How about Josh in North Attleboro? Hi, Josh.
Hey, guys. How's it going? The only thing that's a little confusing to me is Vrabel and A.J. Brown has such a great relationship. How many times have we seen a player that wants out of a team that, puts out a wish list of like 4 or 5 teams and says he's not going to report, and usually that lowers the compensation. Why didn't that happen in this case? I'm just curious.
Okay, because the Eagles aren't beholden to A.J. Brown's desires. They're going to do what's best for the team. That doesn't affect the draft pick, but it should, or it would affect the contract, as you mentioned off the top, Greg.
Yeah, I'm very curious as to what happens with this contract because, as of right now, and we'll see what happens. But because we've talked about this periodically, like I have the Patriots, this whole 3-year stretch. They are now $29 million over the cap over 3 years, which is the last 3 years they were $11 million over, so they're $18 million over. That includes Michael Wenu giving back $7.5 million in cash, which you don't see very often.
And Greg, when you say over the cap, you mean over their typical budget?
Over their budget.
Yeah, their budget is the cap every year, so just, adding that up. I mean, right now they're $29 million over. That's before we even get into Christian Gonzalez.
Over a 3-year period.
Yeah, over a 3-year period. If AJ gives some money back and is like, look, he obviously wanted this deal to happen. And he wanted to come to the Patriots. He wanted to come to Vrabel. I could see the Crafts saying, fine, we'll do it, but AJ's got to play ball with us on the contract. Like, he's got to lower, we'll give him, say, $10 million a year base, but, the rest of the $20 million, $15 million is in incentives. And look, if he performs, he gets it. If he doesn't, if he's hurt, then we protect ourselves.
I just can't fathom him giving back guaranteed money. Well, Owenu gave back non-guaranteed money, so he didn't have any leverage. Brown on that $29 million this year has the leverage. Now, does he do him a solid by spreading it out?
Right.
I'll take some of it next year.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at his contract, and it's the Eagles do their contracts, and they're known to be very. They're very progressive in terms of handling the cap, and they spend gobs over the cap in terms of cash. And the Patriots, I don't know how much has changed recently, but they're archaic in terms of how they manage the salary cap. And so the way the Eagles do it is with their big contracts, they make them option bonuses that are paid like right before the start of the season. So they can get out of contracts. Like, really, the Patriots can get out of A.J. Brown's contract after 1 year because they'll have
only $4 million guaranteed next year.
Right, and his option bonus is like $19.4 million. I think this year it's 27.5. I think that's due in early September, like September 1st or something like that. And that's when he gets his money. Now, do the Crafts and the Patriots say, like, let's push some of that money into next year so that our books look a little bit better this year?
Yeah. Something's coming.
We'll see. I expected it to.
Me too.
Griffin in Air. Go ahead, Griffin.
Hey, yeah, Felger, I know that you had said, you're worth what another team's willing to pay you and you don't want to compare. I was just curious, like, if you let me, Jalen Waddle turns 28 at the beginning of the year, so he's only, a year younger than A.J. Brown about. He went for a first, a third, and a fourth. And, I mean, he played 15 games in 2024 at 700 yards, 16 games last year at 910 yards. So I just in comparison to that, I think the Patriots did well. I'm not really comparing if they won the trade against the Eagles, but
that's not how I would look at it. If Denver was the only team offering a first-round pick for Jalen Waddle, then they overpaid. You said a first, a third, and I didn't hear. I can't remember exactly what you said they got. But if they outbid the next highest team by 30%, then they overpaid. And it's not about what DK Metcalf got or what Steph Diggs got going from Minnesota to Buffalo or whatever, or any of these. It's about what the next team was willing to pay. What the player is worth is what the next team was willing to pay. And if Denver grossly outbid the next team, then they overpaid too. That's how I would look at it. I think the Patriots overpaid on this player because no one at this time was willing to go where they went. So that's all.
That's fine. But, you draw a hard line on negotiations, especially with Howie Roseman. There's a risk there that if you say, all right, well, no, we're not doing the 2028 first. We're sticking with a second-round pick in 2027. That's our final offer. Now, all of a sudden, other teams jump in. Because, it was under the assumption between the Rams and the Patriots in both discussions, it was going to be a first-round pick. So those were the only teams that were somewhat in at that level.
Yeah, but now,
if it drops down a level.
But the Rams are out of that now. The Rams couldn't come back in on that. So they're gone.
I understand, but the Patriots basically agreed to a deal. What, are you going to go back on it?
Well, if the Pats are being cutthroat, they say, Howie, things have changed. This is the whole deal.
Yes, but if you get cutthroat, then other teams, now if it's second round or third, 2/3, now all of a sudden 5 teams jump in. Right. And out of spite, Howie Roseman sends them someplace else. And the Patriots, who want to get past the Vrabel stuff, inherit a PR nightmare.
Okay.
Like, they're not doing that. They put a value on it. They said that's fair value. At the last minute,
they accepted overpaying to get the player.
Right.
Yes.
Good.
They think it's proper value for the player, and they don't have to pay anything. They're not giving up any assets.
I'm just not ignoring that
a first-round pick for 2 years.
They accepted overpaying to guarantee the player here.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't. There isn't unless you have a problem with the first part of that sentence. They didn't overpay. I'm not saying you're doing that,
no.
But Greg, what is the harm in saying that they overpaid some?
There's no harm in it. That's your opinion. I think it's fair value.
Right. So this is my only point. They did overpay some. They did. So
I agree. It's a big risk, but
Yeah, but when you say it opens up to piss off Howie, well, then you lose the player. That's what the decision you make.
The Patriots just got pot committed on this player, and that's a whole other thing about Vrabel and his guys and. He's bringing in Kevin Byard, who's, down near the end. I mean, at least they didn't pay him a ton of money, so I don't feel badly about it. Harold Landry, they paid a lot, got a half a season out.
You agree the Patriots would never do this unless it was
100%.
I mean, this is...
If this was a player that Mike Vrabel had never coached,
no way they would have done
shot his way out of Philadelphia, who, has a poor knee. I mean... What was their physical today that they gave him? Was it like just a quick pat down? Okay, you're all right.
He tickled him.
Yeah, and no, there's no way that the Patriots would have done this deal. The only player outside of Stephon Diggs, and now I do look at that separately because they tried to sign younger ascending wide receivers, but nobody would take their money. They had to go get Steph Diggs because he was the last one.
He was the last one.
He was the last one.
But they didn't overpay for Steph Diggs.
But everybody else, the way that they've done this. Everybody that they've brought in that Vrabel knows, they're the only aging player that are probably in decline. Landry, Byard, now A.J. Brown. Everybody else is young, ascending, and you could say their best football's in front of, like Romeo Doubs. I believe his best football is in front of him, as long as he doesn't have to catch softballs like he tried to do the other night. But there's no way that they would have done this deal if Vrabel hadn't coached them. He obviously has blinders on for his guys. It is largely worked. You ask them about Harold Landry. They do point out, I mean, his film was great until he got hurt. It's true. But this is what you get when you acquire guys around 30 years old. They tend to get hurt. And so, yes, I 100% agree. The Patriots, the Mike Vrabel Patriots, would not be doing this deal for this player if Vrabel hadn't coached them before.
They never should have offered a 1. What they should have offered was a conditional 2 and just stood there. And if Howie said, I've got a 1, they should have said, great, take it. That's how they should have done it.
If they were being cutthroat, they would have. But they accepted losing the trade to get the player. Mary in Manchester. Yes, Mary.
Hi, Mike. Hi, guys. So, yeah, I like the player, but I do think that they overpaid for him. And I am curious about Kraft's viewpoint on this because I do think it's out of character for him to do this. And I'm wondering whether or not he's just giving Vrabel a pass because he knows that he likes this guy, similar the way he did with Belichick when he hired Patricia and Judge, and everyone was on Kraft after that, like, why'd you do it? And he said that Belichick had earned the right after 20 years and 6 Super Bowls to be able to, take a chance. And I think if that same logic applies, I know that Vrabel doesn't have that resume, but he did take the Patriots to the Super Bowl after 1 year. So maybe he's thinking, okay, I'm going to give Vrabel the guy that he wants and see if it works out.
Mary,
shot.
I think you're 100% right. It's about the Krafts. It's about the Krafts would never make this trade, Greg, unless Vrabel's there going to bat for him. I think John Kraft would agree. Like, if the only way the Krafts would do this deal is a conditional, a second that becomes a first, if that, then and you have to restructure your trade and your contract, and now we have all sorts of per game roster bonuses, and we get to do the option bonuses, 2 deferred payments, all the Patriot bull crap, bells and whistles, is when they just paid it straight up, first round pick, and as it stands right now, contract in full. The Krafts would never do this trade.
They paid sticker price.
For this, they paid sticker price. Exactly, Greg.
They just walked up, saw the price on the car, said, okay, I'm paying it. Didn't haggle at all.
Since when?
Never.
Okay, so since Mike Vrabel, their guy, who just took him to the Super Bowl, insisted on it, and they deferred to Vrabel. And the lesson here, the fallout of this is, if it doesn't work, it's an easy one for them to say, well, listen, Mike, sure screwed us on that one. We're going to let Elliott, handle this one. And, you want to sign so-and-so? Well, we're still recovering from that A.J. Brown mess. So, again, we're going to let Elliott make the decision on that one. Like, that's how that plays
Remember
out.
how long Kraft would bring up Belichick's spending spree in the 2021 free agency?
Yes.
And about how that didn't really work out for us. And, you ask him to do something and spend his money, and they did it last year for Vrabel, and it paid off. So they're like, okay, fine, you can do it. But as soon as he screws up, they're going to say, nope, sorry, the kitchen is not open anymore.
It can and will be held against him.
Yep.
Oh, definitely. No, it will. Forget the can. It will be held against.
All right, they have been holding practices, OTAs. What is the big fella witnessed out on the practice field? 3 up, 3 down, OTA edition coming up right after the headlines. We'll go back to the phones for the 5 o'clock hour, Maz, unless you have a fresh thought for us.
God, no.
Felger and Maz, 98.5 Sports Hub. And now it's time for 3 up.
Oh, yeah!
3 down.
What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
With Greg Bedard from BostonSportsJournal.com. 3 up.
Nice catch. Oh, my God. Welcome to the NFL, Kyle Williams.
3 down.
Smelly.
On Felger and Maz on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's do this thing. OTA edition. 3 up, 3 down. With the big boy, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Enjoy the game with the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cast matured Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Please drink responsibly. So they've been practicing out on the fields at Gillette. The media has been able to witness it. We understand it's May and June, and they're in shorts. We got it. Understood. It's beyond early. But what are you seeing? Who do you like? Who's stood out? Both good and bad. Let's play the game, shall we?
Yeah, this is just Greg.
Number one.
Oh, number one.
Number one up.
I went with a little bit of a layup with Drake May. I like the way that he looks. I like the weight that he's put on, the good weight.
So he's put on weight.
Yeah, he's
Maz
stronger.
wanted to know if he was fat.
Is he fat?
He's not fat.
What is he?
He's
beefy.
He's thicker. Yeah.
Where?
Everywhere.
Ass?
Lower leg, ass, shoulders, chest. Like, he looks noticeably bigger.
He's put on weight.
Yeah, he talked about how he wants to basically endure the season better. Yeah.
Well, don't run around like a jackass.
You're right. And I think that he's tightened up his motion a little bit.
How's a double hitch? Double hitch?
Sometimes it's there a little bit, but it's a lot less noticeable. And really, that only happens even during the season. That only happens when he gets confused and he doesn't know exactly what he's seeing. That's when he starts, getting a little hitchy. But his mechanics, it looks like it's coming out a little bit more over the top this year. Instead of he has a tendency to drop the ball down to his hip and a little bit long. It seems like he's shortened it up a little bit, so I like that. I thought he had a really good day today. The first practice was pretty choppy for the pass offense. Today was a lot better, and I thought May was good.
Okay. I bet he's thicker because of the snickerdoodles, but keep going.
And he's put on weight. But Greg says good weight.
The cookies.
Yep. Number 2 up.
Efton Chisholm.
God, please. He's turning my mic off.
He's the spring MVP this year. He's taken the mantle from Demario Douglas. Catches a lot of balls. I think he's going to probably push Pop Douglas off the roster this year. And I think he's off to a really good start.
Wow. Number 3.
You get back
comment.
in?
Number 3. Number 3 up.
A guy by the name of Leonard Taylor, defensive tackle, number 93. Dude's been a menace.
Yeah, let me tell you. It was this time last year where he said, watch out for this. Who was a big fella inside on the D-line?
Tonga, baby.
Tonga.
Tonga truck.
Tonga. So
what's this guy's name?
Leonard Taylor.
Leonard Taylor.
Number 93.
Okay, tell me about him.
Whatever.
So he's been getting after it in the pass rush. He deflected a couple of balls today coming up the middle. Really good. He's gotten after it. I mean, he is really impressed.
Where's he come from?
I want to say the University of Miami. But,
draft pick, undrafted guy?
I think he's an undrafted guy from last year.
Last year?
Okay, well,
93. Leonard Taylor is from the University of Miami, 6'3", 305. He was a Jets. He was on the Jets college free agent. Patriots put him on the practice squad last year.
Got it. Okay, log it. Say the name one more time.
Leonard Taylor.
Okay. 3 down. Who have you not been impressed by in the early going?
So my first down is the Julian Hill injury. From what I had heard, he was this is the blocking tight end that they brought in from the Dolphins. They paid him a decent amount.
I was just going to say, gave him sneaky real money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and from what I had heard behind the scenes in the OTAs that we didn't get to see, he had been one of the early stars. You could even see his physicality without pads and things like that, and he's shown a little bit more in the pass game than I think they thought they were going to get. And there were really high hopes for him that, him as the blocking tight end, free up Hunter Henry a little bit to get away from that so we can last a little bit better in the season. Reggie Gilliam at fullback, they were going to be the engine for the run game. They were going to be really effective and bully people and things like that, and now, poof, it's gone. And I was hoping maybe he'd come back at some point, but Vrabel said he is done for the year. Sounds like a serious knee injury. So I am bummed. And if Jack Westover was out there for him today, if I have to watch that again this season, that's it. I quit. They have to get somebody else.
It's a sneaky bad loss.
It is.
Because, again, this was the guy who's is violent, right?
Yep.
They said plays with violence.
Mm-hmm.
They needed some of that on their offense.
Yep.
Number 2 on the downside.
Romeo Doubs. I have not been impressed with him on the practice field. Of course, it is very early, and he's just getting into it. Drake May doesn't know him and all that stuff. And I'm not saying he's a bust or anything like that. But I just haven't been overly impressed. Hasn't done much on the field. A couple of times the first practice, Drake May tried to get him deep a couple of times. Overthrew him. I haven't seen great burst. He doesn't elevate like Kayshon Boutte, I think, elevates off the ground better on contested passes. So I haven't seen that yet. And then, holy hell, his performance in the celebrity softball game the other day was scary.
This is odd that we're going to include this as part of your analysis, but you were telling us off the air that his play in the outfield, tracking fly balls, was almost comical.
It was atrocious. Yes. It was one of those kids in Little League, like the short round fat kid who barely ever plays.
Like bad depth perception.
Balls just dropping.
I think a lot of it was probably the glove. But so the first fly ball out to him, it's the first pitch of the game. and somebody hits it opposite field to right field. He's playing in right field. He goes back. He's tracking it okay. The ball lands in fair territory before the fence. He misses the ball and then topples over the temporary fence, which scares the crap out of Rabel and May. They got their arms up like, what are you doing? Then the next ball out there, he just gave up and pointed to the center fielder and said, you get it. Then the next one was he was tracking it. He had it, and then it dropped 2 feet behind him. He did catch a nice line drive to his right going on. So I was like, okay, he can go over the middle. That's more his territory.
Sounds like Jaron Duran.
And then there were 2 pop flies that he was camped under that he just missed. Hit his glove, popped out. On the 4th one, because I was sitting in the crowd, like just taking it in at that point, there was murmuring going on in the stands on the 4th one where people were like, are we sure this guy knows how to catch?
What's wrong with this guy?
You said he made one catch running to his right?
Running to his right.
Is it more of a line drive?
Yes.
You
it was
can't
like
track
over the middle.
ball in the sky.
Yeah. So,
he's not doing punts.
So I do, I like to use this to inform me a little bit, but so I'm looking for Romeo Dobbs, between the hashes guy.
Okay.
Don't give him the deep ball.
Number 3 on the downside.
The people who were adamant that Caleb Lomu was here to compete with Will Campbell at left tackle. That has not happened.
The people?
One snap.
The people?
Yes. I just wanted to get into talking about this.
Go ahead.
Yes, including probably you. You were probably saying
He'll be there eventually.
I didn't say he'd be doing it this April, but it's coming.
But he has not taken in team. He was there at left tackle in rookie camp. In the 2 practices that we've been at, he has not taken 1 snap at left tackle, and just about everybody else on the roster has taken snaps at left tackle. He has only been at right tackle.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you this question, then we're going to go to break and come back and pick it up with your calls. Over-under on starts this year by Will Campbell at a position other than left tackle. The over-under is 0.5.
Under.
Over.
So you are saying, Greg, that he will start every game at left tackle?
That he is healthy for, yes.
What if he's not healthy? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about starts at another position this year. Will he start a single game at another spot other than left tackle this season?
Nope. I think he's going to be better this year. I think a lot of his issues in the postseason had to do with him being hurt. I think he's going to be stronger, better coached, execute better.
Is he thicker?
Yeah, I would say so. But I think he's moving well in general. So I think he looks healthy, and I don't think his play is going to be bad enough that you would say we have to try something else. I just don't think it's going to get to that point.
Well, it didn't last year till it really mattered, so it's possible.
Yeah, but there were signs. I mean, there are a lot of people were pants off about Will Campbell like all year till he got hurt, and I was always telling you like he's been fine,
right?
He's been fine with but he hasn't really gone against anybody. I mean, Max Crosby, all these other guys were on the other side, and he wasn't really tested. He was okay. He was better in the run game than the pass game, and I do think he was beat up a little bit, but it did not surprise me what happened to him in the postseason.
He went against Myles Garrett. I remember seeing that.
Yep. I mean, nobody can block that move. That move where he starts up the field and sort of levitates to his left around. It's incredible.
How does Caleb Lomu look?
Like an offensive tackle. I mean, he looks fine. Yeah.
That's some baseline.
I was going to say, wow.
They don't have pads on. I can't really tell.
Well, we're doing our best here, Greg.
I know.
You said you like the way Will Campbell looks.
Yeah, I like the way he moves. I like the way Lomu moves.
You gave me a pretty good analysis on Will Campbell just now. How come you can't do it on Lomu?
All I said that Will Campbell moves well. That's all I said. He's moving well. Caleb Lomu moves well. Looks like a big boy. Looks smart, coachable. All those things. Yeah, but I think he was a reach in the first round. I think in a regular draft, he probably doesn't go in the first round. He's a developmental tackle. To me, with the ability to play both sides.
I think the lead is that Greg thinks Dobbs sucks.
Let's just do this now and take us to 55. Corey in Boston, give us one more to hit on. Please, go ahead, Corey.
I just had a question for Bedard. Now that A.J. Brown is in town, what does that mean for the whole Christian Gonzalez thing? And now that with the Myles Garrett trade, what would you trade him for if you do? Picks, a high-end player, and a set of picks? That's all I had for the question for you guys.
Thanks, Corey. Where are we on Christian Gonzalez? Where do you think this is headed?
All I can go on is what the Patriots have said, and they said that they want Christian Gonzalez here for the long term. I do still have a tough time seeing the Crafts paying the freight after getting A.J. Brown this offseason. I just do.
And if they don't sign him to that contract, do you think he's going to show up?
I think he's going to withhold his services, but I think he will play come the season. If I were the Patriots, because I am leery of forking over, like making Christian Gonzalez the highest paid cornerback in the league. I'm sorry, I am. I'm just not a huge believer in him yet. I'm not out on him or anything. I think his Super Bowl was overrated. I think if Sam Darnold was any good, Christian Gonzalez would have given up at least 2 touchdowns in that Super Bowl if he wasn't throwing balls behind him. Now, the outstretched one over the middle, that was sensational. But the other ones that you see those balls were behind Jackson Smith and Jigba and should have been touchdowns. And they would have been on Gonzalez. And I question his mental toughness has always sort of been in question.
If it takes making him the highest paid corner in the game, or one of the top 5 highest paid defensive players in the entire league, or trading him for 2 first-round picks, what are you doing?
I'm trading it for 2 first-round picks. I would rather invest that in the rest of the team. I think that this scheme is more edge pass rush dependent than anything, and I'd rather put my money there.
All right, let's pick this up with your calls. I promise right after these words.